Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As the closing government, I would like to expand on what the opening government has already said. We would like to stress out that the status quo right now, which is the K-pop stars who are massively popular, is creating unrealistic beauty standards on Asian, and therefore it creates a massive discrimination to minority groups. From what the opposition side has said, that K-pop industry adds to the beauty standards that are traditionally held by the Western. However, it also the K-pop industry is also only representing a small part of Asian, and therefore we think that it doesn't solve the problems of unrealistic beauty standards, because instead of solving it, it now has created another problem, which is creating the perception that all Asians should be like the K-pop stars, while the K-pop stars are only representing a group of Asian people who are from East Asian, with the characteristic being fairly white skin, and then having slanted eyes and a certain characteristic, while in actuality there are a lot of variety in Asians, such as the slightly tan skin of Southeast Asian, the darker skin and bigger eyes of South Asian, and even people in the Middle East or the Northern Asian have very different appearance to the fellow Asians, especially East Asians, and therefore K-pop industry creates the perception that Asian women should be like East Asian. However, it's not even possible. It creates a misconception that the nice other Asians, such as the Southeast Asians, the South Asian, the Middle East, and etc., their identity. It creates total harm instead of diversifying beauty standards. We still think that it is not enough. However, the opposition sides also mentioned that the K-pop industry have already create diversity, and we think that it's not true, because admit or not, those people that is mentioned as example by the opposition side is still a conventional beauty. They are not representing the minority groups that well, because the K-pop industry still demands certain standards, and so that those examples provided by the opposition team can even be built. And we would also like to add to the idea of society of beauty standard, whether from society or from the media. And we would also like to add that society perceives beauty standards from media. They get their information from media who are perpetuating this kind of beauty standards, and therefore we think that the media should take the first step in order to diversify, in order to abolish beauty standards, so that women aren't beholden to cater to the patriarchal society by conforming to certain standards. And besides, by including minorities, they also the companies also open up a new market. In this way, they will create a new viewership who are more connected to the minorities that are representing them in the industry. That's all for me. Further will be explained by my partner. Thank you for your attention.
So at the way of the closing band, I would like to further agree with the motion of this House belief that feminist movement should aggressively oppose the K-pop industry. So as the opening government side of the House has stated that currently K-pop is an industry that is currently booming, and it is becoming a role model for people in the world. As we can see that people are projecting those K-pop idols as their role model. As it was like that, they will want to be like those K-pop idols, and thus we believe that this K-pop industry will actually disencourage people to be unique and to be just as themselves, and it will also bring an unfortunate effects to those of minority groups. And as K-pop industry is on the rise and very trending, so we can see that more and more people are perceiving them as the standard. More and more people are perceiving their beauty, their attractiveness as a standard, and we believe that it will make those people in minority groups to be standing up. Like for example, people that are fat will probably stand up because the K-pop industry doesn't really show in their media about talented fat people. They don't really show that, and we can see from that alone that is a discriminative move on the K-pop industry. And so we, as the closing bands of the government side of the House, believe that as it is now, more and more people will actually perceive that K-pop idols are the standard in the society, and we from the government side of the House, the closing bands, doesn't want it. And we believe that our agenda was opposing on this K-pop industry that were actually pressing those groups of minorities. We are aggressively opposing the stereotyping of Asia, because in reality, in the practice, we can see that when people talk about Asia, those Western people talk about Asia, they will think one thing, they will actually think about Korean industry standard beauty. Not like, for example, in Asia we actually have those Indonesian, Vietnam, and a lot of other countries. But when we talk about Asia standard beauty, they will stereotype it to K-pop industry standard beauty. We don't want that. We don't want those stereotyping. And while we also understand that by proposing this motion of aggressively opposing the K-pop industry, it will make the feminist movement look like they are just solely putting blame on the K-pop industry. But we have to understand that in practice, in reality, that K-pop industry is booming. They are on the top nowadays, and almost all medias are talking about that, are talking about K-pop industry, and those medias are giving up the K-pop industry as a consumable for viewers, and that's why we believe that by aggressively opposing the K-pop industry, we would like to reduce those stereotyping, and we like to reduce the discrimination against the minority groups. And furthermore, we believe that although the opposition side of the house is giving us the alternative of like picking our own beauty standard, but that's just the theory. We have to look at the practice. We have to see at the reality that currently, even though there are a lot of beauty standards out there, like for example, like they said, the African beauty standard, do people really follow that? Do people really perceive them, or do a lot of people really perceive them as the appropriate beauty standard? No, but most likely the current trend nowadays, people are more likely to perceive that the K-pop industry beauty standard is the trend, and we don't want that, as we believe that the opposition side of the house is actually not really looking at how the current practice is going on. And with the closing side of the closing government side of the house, believe that we should be the one to be winning this case, as we can see that the government side of the closing government side of the house are further explaining about how this K-pop industry standard beauty is actually making people to be stereotyping people and discriminating those minority groups, and that's why I proudly propose this motion.